All right, so the next example I'm going to do is using the envelope distort and make with mesh function. So what I'm going to do is just move over to my other artboard here. And I'm going to lock this previous layer. I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to name it envelope distort. Now again, I'm going to create my background shape. Just click and drag that out. I'm just going to make this be off-white, so one of these colors down here, which is my grayscale. I mean, I could just add like a 5% gray to this. And what I'm going to do now is just basically take my line tool and I'm just going to draw a line from one point right over to the next. Okay, and I'm going to add maybe a 4-point stroke to it. So 4-point black stroke to this. And I'm going to show you how to use the transform effect, which I can use to create multiple copies while giving them an even amount of space in between. So to do that with my line selected, I'll go up to my effect menu. I'll go down to distort and transform and select transform. And then from here, I can decide on how many copies of this line I want to create. So I have one physical copy here. So if I want to create, I don't know, maybe 19 more and have 20 copies in total, I can do that. And then I can decide on how I want to move this. So I can go to my move area and I can drag the vertical slider down to a positive number to move it down, or a negative number to move it up. So I'm just going to move it down. I'm going to have them fairly close in between. So maybe like 12 pixels apart. And then I could just add more copies if I want to. So maybe I'll add, I don't know, what does 40 look like? Maybe that's too much. Maybe 30 is okay. So I'll add 30 copies. And then I'm going to click OK. So now this is actually just an effect. Okay, so if I hold Command Y, okay, you'll actually see, I'm just going to hide my grid. There's actually just one physical copy of this line here. All right. So what I'm going to do is expand my appearance so that all of these copies become physical objects on my artboard. So to do that, I'm going to go up to my object menu. I'm going to go down to expand appearance. And that's basically going to release the effect and draw out those 35 different copies of that line that I wanted. So at this point, I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just going to grab my selection tool and I'm just going to move it a little bit. Now I could scale this if I wanted to afterwards. But for now, what I'm going to do is create these lines as if they are a wave, right? And to do that, I can use an envelope distortion and I can use one of the options, which is make with mesh. So basically it's going to create this wireframe mesh over top of it where I can select these nodes and then position the nodes to make these lines have a wave appearance. So I'm going to go up to my object menu. I'm going to go down to envelope distort and I'm going to choose make with mesh. I'm going to click on that and it's going to give me these options here. So I'm just going to move that out the way and I could just hit preview and you'll see that it applies this wireframe mesh. So right now it creates 4 rows and 4 columns. So I can always increase that. So if I wanted more columns, that'll just give me more flexibility in how I want to make this sort of wave go. So let's say if I want this part or the even numbers to wave upwards, right? I can do that. So maybe I'll have like 8 and I can click OK. So what I want to do is select the even number columns and then use my shift and arrow keys to move them up so that they have this wave effect. So to do that, I'm going to grab my lasso tool, which will help me select multiple anchor points at once. So what I'm going to do is just click and drag and draw a circle around that second column. I'm going to hold the shift key, drag around the 4th column, keep holding the shift key around the 6th column, and then the 8th column. And then what I'll do is hold the shift key and then the up arrow, and maybe just click that maybe 4 or 5 times, and then you'll see that it gives me this wave effect. So now I'm just going to zoom back out. I'm going to grab my selection tool. I'm just going to hide my guides, and then you can sort of see this effect right here. Okay, let's just preview that. All right, so now I can grab my type tool and I can click once again. I'm going to put this up to maybe 200 for now. And I'm going to type out the word graphic again. Maybe just going to make it a bit smaller. Something like that. And then again, I'm going to convert it into outlines. So Shift Command O. And then I'm going to ungroup it. So Shift Command G. And now I can select maybe these other letters and just kind of position them down below here. Right, you can kind of position them anyhow you like. Maybe just going to do something like this. I'll select them all once again and group them by holding Command G. And then I'll just maybe fill them the same color as the background. So again, 5% white. And then maybe just have this sort of like effect here where some of it maybe starts off the grid. And I'll just scale it up. Just maybe kind of have it flowing in there. Shift it down just a little bit. So now it looks something like that. All right, so I'll select that and the lines and then group those together. I'll bring my guides back up. And again, now you can sort of position this anyhow you want. So if you kind of want this to be off the edge, sort of like this, or maybe you want to rotate it and have it coming off the top. Right? You can even have it going diagonally across the center here. You can design it however you like. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to keep this straight. So again, I'm just going to put this somewhere in my target area. And then again, I'll grab my type tool. I'll click once, change my font size to 18, light, and then this one will be called Envelope Distort. Make with mesh with Adobe Illustrator. And maybe I'll just rotate it, position it, maybe something like there. And then again, grab my type tool, click once, type the word design. That was 36 points in bold. So I could have it like coming off the edge, or maybe even have it touch right off the edge here. So I kind of have this sort of effect where the type starts right from the trim of the page. I'm just going to reposition that. Okay, so again, save my file. And then I'm going to move on to the next example, which is going to be using the blend tool.